Thank you very much, House Chair. So the bill under discussion basically says that all investments and businesses in South Africa should be subjected to one common law, policy directives and regulations, instead of the stratified bilateral investment treaties that have been entered to with individual countries on various sectors. So the proposal is to say, let us have one common law for all businesses. By the look of it, that is sensible. That is the way to go. So obviously the right-wing forces will say that, let us do it as is currently. Obviously we're not going to entertain that. But the major challenge that government is facing currently is its inability and unwillingness to enforce laws that relate to businesses and regulations and policy directives that relate to businesses, whether domestic or international investments. Look at the mining charter. Look at the MPRDA itself, the law that governs mineral resources. Majority of the things that you have to deal with compliance there are not being met. Look at the charters of each and every sector, the Agri-BEE charter, the Information and Communications Technology charter. All those commitments that have been reached there in consultation with industry are not being met, because even if you subject everyone else to one common law, you do not have the muscle, you do not have the decisive willingness to deal with all businesses that operate in South Africa. And by the way, there is no country in the world which has developed successfully and industrialized successfully without imposing a clear developmental agenda on investments and businesses. You have to deal with that when you move forward. Look, continental Europe had common laws for all investments post-World War II through the martial law. Post-World War II in Japan, in Singapore, in all the countries that industrialized late, there was common law for all investments. In China, which is the fastest growing economy in the past 30 years, the second biggest economy in the world now, it was 130 years ago. There is common law for all investments that come into Chinese economy. So it's to all these companies that come into South Africa. But what should be those policy directives and interventions that must be imposed on these companies? One, it should be that they must all implement a minimum wage of 4,500 so that wealth is redistributed. Two, it must be that at least 51% of all these companies must be owned by workers. Currently, you say that they must be owned 30% by BEE beneficiaries, who are inherently very few. Why can't you pass legislation, these charters that are existing, to say that at least workers must be in control and ownership of 51% of these companies? Three, the intervention, the developmental mandate that must be imposed is that all these companies must use South African banks as their trading accounts, so that they are subject to scrutiny on issues of tax avoidance and base erosion that define most of these foreign direct investors in South Africa. Fourthly, is that you can impose a developmental mandate that says that a minimum of 50% of the profits should be reinvested into South Africa's productive sectors. In order of South African economy to industrially expand and deal with many other questions. So unless all these areas have been covered,
your time is up,
decisively, we will not support the bill in its current form. We're not rejecting it from the right perspective of the DA. We're rejecting it from a progressive developmental mandate which we must impose on all investments. Thank you very much.